it's Brittany. So, today's gonna be a back in time watches video, and I'll be telling you of sharing a memory with you of the first time that I saw The Mask. Oh, and before I get into it, before I do, okay, you know that dream video that I did of Wonka? And I told you I heard an ice cream truck song, like somehow before I went to sleep, like cause at some point I woke up, heard it, then went back to sleep, and then when the dream was over, and then how I heard it again. Well, and you know how I said there's no ice cream truck that goes around here? Well, actually, there was. And by the time you see this, it's gonna be uh um it's gonna be, so when you do see this, let's just say when I heard this, it was actually because there was an ice cream truck going by, so about, I'm guessing 2 or 3 days ago, where I actually did hear an ice cream truck going by. And when it did, because when I heard it, it didn't sounded the same like it did before, you know how it would sound, but this time it's just a little bit different, although it still sounded the same in a way. But when I heard, I thought, there is an ice cream truck going by here, and that's what I heard that day. So I looked at the time to see what time it was when I heard it, and it was around 4 p.m. And I know you're thinking, so you were asleep at 4 p.m. Okay, only because, for one, I went to, I was sleeping late, and the thing is, I overslept, and so yeah, so that wasn't my intention though. It wasn't. But I just thought it was funny how I heard it, and then all of a sudden I had this Willy Wonka dream. But I'm thinking, how? Because the song is the with the ice cream truck song, and Willy Wonka doesn't create or make ice cream. He makes chocolate and candy, even chocolate candy. So I'm not sure how that fits in at all, but I just thought that was kind of funny. But yes, of course, I'm gonna make sure, because of course, like I said, that was only that time when I did woke up late because I overslept. But I do like waking up early. So anyway, so that's that. And now on to with this story time. So, like this movie memory. Okay, so when The Mask came out in theaters, it actually came out on my older sister's birthday, July 29th, 1994. And so now I don't know, because my mom did tell me this. I don't know if it was the day that it was released in theaters, or if it was just sometime after that, maybe even days or weeks after the release. But I think at some point my mom took me, and let's see, so my mom took me to go see The Mask. But let's see, around that time, so in 94, I was 2. Okay, so I was 2 at the time, because yeah, I wasn't 3 yet, because I would have been 3 if it was past my birthday, because my birthday's in November. So yeah, I was not 3 yet, but would have turned 3 later that year, on November 13th, that year, but I was 2. I was 2 when it came out, so of course I'm still a baby. And so let's see, my mom, I was there. My older sister was there. I don't know whether my dad was there with us or maybe if not. I'm pretty sure he was. I just don't remember about that. So, and this is from what my mom told me, is that as we went to go see it in theaters, that, like I said, again, I was 2 at the time when it came out, and so when it came to the part where Jim Carrey puts on the mask and he transforms, into the mask, that when it came to that part and even the other parts where he did put on the mask, even I'm not sure if I did watch the whole thing or not. I would have to ask my mom about that. But she said that when he did put on the mask, that I would get so scared that I was just crying and screaming, and because I think, of course, it's just something I didn't understood what was going on. I couldn't grasp what was going on. And because this looked scary to me as a baby, at 2 years old, of course I'm gonna be crying and screaming because I can't understand what's going on. I can't grasp it to even to understand, because yeah, when it comes to things like that, when it comes to certain things, of course it's understandable for a baby to be crying and scream for something that they can't understand, to even grasp of what's going on, because they don't know what's going on. They can't understand it. All they know is that they're seeing something that's just scaring them, at the moment, because to them it just looks scary, and and it's understandable, you know but that's the thing, I have no memory of that. Even at 2 years old, I have no memory of being with my mom, my dad, and my sister at the theater, and I'm seeing where he puts on the mask, and all of a sudden I'm crying and screaming. So I don't remember that. I have no memory of that at all. And honestly, I'm glad I don't, because I don't want to have that memory of that, only because it's like, well, okay, I know it's understandable why I was, because I was just a baby, but I don't think I would want to remember that. It's like I would want nothing but good memories of it. But yes, that's what happened. So I don't know whether if I was able to watch the whole movie or not. I don't know, but I do know at some point when I started to watch The Mask again, and I'm not sure how old I was this time when I started to watch it again. I don't know if I was either maybe 3, maybe 4, around there, or maybe even 5, or it could be 3 or 4. I don't know. It could be that when I was watching it again, like I said, it could have been when I was maybe even 4, and that and at this time I was not scared, and I was just like, I think in a way amazed and just like, whoa. But then again, I don't remember that either, because this is from what my older sister told me, and I thought it was actually cute. But she said that when I did watched it again, and of course it was at home, we had it on VHS, and that when I was watching it, she said how that I would like describe to her about the scene when he put on the mask, and that the way I described it, where I said, like in a cute way, as a toddler, and I'm saying, like, he puts on the mask and like, as I said something like he goes in circles, like, and woo, and smoking. And she said that, like, that's how I said it and described that scene. But I thought, oh, I'm like, that's cute. Like, okay, that's funny. But okay, I gotta admit, that was adorable how I described that scene. Um, when I described it to her. So it could have been when I was either 3 or 4 at that time. But yeah, wow. And so yeah, I remember even as I got a little older, I would say, I think when I was like what, even like 7, 8, 9, I was still watching it, and of course, when I would watch it, I would just enjoy it. And of course, even as I got a little older, those parts, like the parts where Jim Carrey would put on the mask and become the mask, those parts no longer scare me like I did before, because like I said, at 2 years old it's different because you're still just a baby, and you can't comprehend, to understand, to really grasp what's going on. So whatever you're seeing, it's just something that just scares you, and it's just scary to you as a baby, and it's understandable. So, but yes, I remember as I got a little bit more older, um, that whenever I would watch The Mask, I was not scared, but this time I was more like amazed and just like, wow, and it was just more like whatever he would do or say, I would just find funny and laugh at. But of course, there was one thing that he said that I didn't quite understand what it was, and so that's why I didn't really laugh at it, but now I do. um okay, so maybe I should mention this real quick here. So it's the park scene where he puts on a mask, where he's with Cameron Diaz, and where um okay, like when he holds her as he's bent her over, and then he says, kiss me, my dear, and he says, and I will reveal my corazon. And then he says, oh my gosh, okay, he says, I will spread your pate, and I will dip my ladle in your fish's swamp. Okay, now him saying that, now for a long time I was confused. I'm like, what is he saying? Like, okay, what is he saying here? Like, I don't get it. But the thing is, even as a teen, I did not quite get that, because I gotta admit, there were just at the time, even there were just dirty jokes I did not get. I think there's, I would say maybe just a little bit of dirty jokes I probably did got, but I think most of it just went over my head and I did not get it. I did not understood it, because of course, no one really joked that way, um, around. But even if they did, I'm like, huh? And the thing is, and as I was starting to learn about more of that, if you know what I mean, it's like then I was able to understood those adult dirty jokes. And so it's like now whenever I do hear it, I laugh, but it depends on it though, because if the joke itself is either sounds insulting, or it sounds belittling, or if it sounds offensive in any way, either to a man or a woman, then yeah, I would not find that funny. I would be like, are you kidding me? That was not funny. That was mean. But if it's a joke where it comes out where it is not offensive or insulting in any way, then yes, I will laugh at it if it's gonna come out sounding funny where it's not offensive at all. So yeah, that's what you know now about me, is that I actually do laugh at dirty jokes, especially ones, like I said, ones that are not offensive and ones that are, it's done such a way where it's carefully and it's done in such a way um, where it is funny. Then yes, I will laugh at that. So I remember at some point when I was watching The Mask and hearing that, I accept, like I said, there was a time where watching The Mask, and when that happened, then that's when I understood what he was saying, what he meant, and so I understood it and I just laughed. So yeah, the first time I actually laughed at that, and I'm like still laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like all this time I never knew it was that. I didn't know what he was saying. But now that I know and I know what it means, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just so funny. And even to put it in that way, because he didn't put it in such a way of using the actual words, but when he said his croissant and the pate um the rest, so I understood. So to put it in that way, like carefully, and using different words to describe that, oh my gosh, like I said, it was just funny. Anyway, um other than that though, okay, so I think that might count as the first time watching it at 2 years old, but then again, I'm not sure, but I kind of think it does. But yes, um, like I said, and the thing is, there are other things in there that make me laugh too. Um, and Jim Carrey, he's just so funny. And the thing is, I grew up watching Jim Carrey, like not all of his movies, but I think just some of his movies, and The Mask is one of them. And the thing is though, because um, even growing up, me and my sisters, we did not have a brother, so to me, personally, it's like whenever I would watch Jim Carrey and knowing how he just made me laugh, and not only he's one of my favorite actors that I look up to, and I admire his work and his sense of humor, and knowing that he just makes me laugh, but also I even looked up to him as a brother, like as a older brother that I never had, like who makes me laugh, someone who can um, just put me in a good mood, and then just like be able to uh, enjoy watching his performances and his movies that I'm watching. So yeah, and honestly, he still does. So I feel like I still consider him as a brother, though. I do. I do. I'm sorry. It came out though. I'm not sure why. But yeah, and I think that's nice though. I think it's nice where when you do look up to someone and they can somehow feel like a family relative to you. And whether if you really might be related to them or not, but I think it's just nice and sweet that someone that maybe you never even met, but someone who you admire, that at the same time they could also feel like someone really close to you, like a relative. So yeah, and so, but yeah, so as I'm watching, like I said, even as I got a little older and watching The Mask, I loved it. And So The Mask actually became one of my favorite movies as a kid, and it still is. It still is, because even when I still watch it, I still enjoy it. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's funny, and I just love it. I love everything about it, and yeah, I really do. So I feel like I have a lot of good memories with The Mask, and that I just love everything about it. But the one thing that scares me though is when Dorian puts on the mask, and also his face looks a little bit more. I don't know how to put it, but his face looks different, and he has red eyes, and why? But I think I mentioned this before in another video, is that I believe the reason why he has red eyes is because of how dark of the person that he is. So therefore it gave him this different face, like it gave him this different facial structure, and even the red eyes, because how he's not a good person, and he's dark inside, like there's evil in him. And because that there's this darkness and evil inside of him, that's why I believe it was shown of that he was given the red eyes as he put on the mask. And plus with a deep voice too, with that deep uh voice he had, which of course was not like a good deep kind of voice. It was more like this like scary villain deep kind of voice. And that's another thing too, that happened. He went through those changes with the eyes and his voice as he put on the mask, but with Stanley, he never went through those changes. Like his eyes never changed color from like brown to like a whole completely different color, like yellow or orange or pink. Nothing like that. And plus, even his voice never changed either, but that's because I believe Stanley Ipkiss, he was still himself as he put on the mask, but it only brought out this other side to him he was never able to show, to really fully express as Stanley Ipkiss, but instead he was able to really bring that other side to him through the mask. And that's why it came out so wild, but and funny, like hilarious, and just like this crazy wild love man, as he put it. So that's why he didn't go through those changes, is because of that. But with Dorian, because he had this darkness inside him, I believe that is why his facial, the structure to his face looked different. He had red eyes, and when he got really mad, they would glow red, and it's like, oh. And knowing that he had this deep, scary, intimidating voice, and I think that's why it represented the darkness inside Dorian, so that changed when he put on the mask. So that's what I believe. Now, I don't know if anyone somehow maybe explained that, like the explanations to of the mask of that, but that's to what I believe, and that's just how I see it. But yeah, so anyway, so yes, as I got a little older and continuing watching The Mask, I was no longer afraid. I was just overall like amazed how he put on the mask, and now he is the mask. And like I said, it's just so hilarious. It's crazy but fun and wild. So hilarious. And Jim Carrey did such an amazing job with that role, and it's like he he can do both. He could play uh, a little seriousness when it comes to Stanley Ipkiss, but he could be so funny, so hilarious when he puts on the mask and he brings out this wild, crazy side. But it's also so hilarious too, and I love that. And he just pulled it off, and so yeah, everything about this movie I love, and so yeah, like I said, as I had continued watching it as a kid, I just loved it. So so it's like this. It's like how when I was scared at the T Rex of Jurassic Park at first, but then when I came to watch a little bit more, I was no longer scared of it, especially of the T Rex, and I came to love it because I fell in love with it. Just like with this one, like how at first I was scared when Jim Carrey put on the mask and I was screaming and crying, but then as I got a little older and I was watching it again, this time I wasn't scared. And this time I was just amazed and like, wow, like that's amazing. And then just seeing how funny he was as the mask and wild and crazy and everything was just great to see. And I love his performance as Stanley Ipkiss, the mask. So it's just really great. And so yeah, even I just fell in love with the movie too, and I still love it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this, and that is all for today. That is all for today's story time of When I Saw the Mask. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and so for more movie content, reactions, and dreams, subscribe and click on the bell so you'll be notified when I upload. Oh, and I hope you don't mind, but there are two lines that I love that he says, which is smoking. I love the way he says it. And I also love when he was getting ready to go to the Coco Bongo Club, and then he looks at himself in the mirror and he says, "Ooh, somebody stop me." I love that. I really do. I think those are two great lines, quotes. So I love that. I really do. So I hope you enjoyed this. So for more content like this, subscribe and click on the bell so you get notified when I upload. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies. Smoking.